Today it's raining so much outside. It's genuinely insane. The road into my house is truly flooded. Like, several floods. I do not think that my car can handle that. But no matter, I'm inside now. I made it safely somehow. And I made it back to this human-sized stack of books, which might fall over any second. I don't know. Hopefully not. But I thought today I would do a summer book haul. I start my second year of university in give or take a month, and I may have gone a little bit crazy with my funds, and I may have purchased a few more books than I responsibly should have. But no matter, because I'm going to read them all, at least before I die, and I would love to talk about them and just go through all of the books that I bought, perhaps a little bit, I wouldn't say recklessly. I planned this. I knew I would buy books. I always know I'm gonna buy books. Let's get into it. So first, I went and visited some family and spent a lot of time in thrift stores. Truly more time than I've ever spent in thrift stores. But at one of these thrift stores, they knew I was coming. They had a 2-for-1 special, and I'll tell you this much, didn't organize this stack well. But I bought these two books for $1.50, but I got The Pickwick Papers by Charles Dickens. I've really been wanting to read some Dickens for a very long time now, and I have read a bit of the Old Curiosity Shop, but I am a chronic DNFer, so one day I will finish that. Maybe not today, maybe not this year. But anyway, I got the Pickwick Papers. I know it's supposed to be a nice, lighthearted, fun time, and I'm very excited to read this, whenever that is. And then I also picked up Shuggie Bain, which is very exciting for me because I, again, read half of Young Mungo by Douglas Stewart, and I really loved it. That one though, I had to return to the library because I read it so slowly. Truly the slowest I've ever read anything in my life. And it was very good, and I would love to finish it someday. I just could not. And I don't know, Shuggie Bain at a thrift store for 50 cents. Don't mind if I do. So one day I will read this and Young Mungo. Very excited. In not a thrift store, a bookstore that I went to, I have listened to the first few chapters of this book on audio, but I really don't like audiobooks that much. It's really not my bag, but it's Cleopatra and Frankenstein, and I loved this book when I first listened to the first bit of it. It was truly fantastic. I wanted to keep reading it, but something about audiobooks and me, we're not friends. We don't get along. You know, I don't hate her, but I'm not talking to her. So I needed to get a physical copy of this so I could actually read it and not hate every second. Then I may have gone a little bit trigger happy on thrift books. It has been my best friend over the past year as somebody who does not like buying new books because she can't afford it. I have been wanting to read a lot of Jhumpa Lahiri because it's a long story. But basically, I first heard about this book, Translating Myself and Others, which is an essay collection about translation, because Jhumpa Lahiri, she originally wrote a lot of books in English, won the Pulitzer Prize, and then moved to Italy and learned Italian and began writing books in Italian, which I think is so fascinating. And in this book, in other words, it's a memoir about learning Italian and how she began writing in Italian, and it's so fantastic. I did read this one, and I absolutely loved it. It's so charming, and the way that she talks about language is truly fantastic and very like inspiring. It's also just very poetic, and her journey with Italian is obviously so relatable for anybody learning any language, really. And it's just so well written. It's also a bilingual text, so there's Italian on one side and English on the other, which I thought was really cool. I do not speak Italian, but who knows? Probably not, but maybe one day. And then translating myself and others. I've read a couple of these essays now. They're just fantastic. Again, it's about translation and translating others and herself. And it's wonderful. The experience of reading Jhumpa Lahiri's writing is just unlike any other. It's riveting and it just pulls you in, and I love it. Additionally, when I was trying to figure out which Jhumpa Lahiri books I wanted to buy, I fell down a lovely little rabbit hole and was looking at her inspirations, one of which is William Trevor, who was an Irish author, wrote so much. And I got, I'm now forgetting the name, The Story of Lucy Galt, which sounds fantastic to me. It's about a 9-year-old Lucy who is in Ireland, and her parents and her are leaving for England, but that night, or the day before they're supposed to leave, she runs away, and then a whole host of things happen, so I've heard, and I have been very enamored with Ireland and very interested in Ireland, so this is definitely something I'm excited to read soon. Sticking with the William Trevor theme, I may have gone overboard with this one. I'm not the biggest short story fan. I have read the classics. I've read The Yellow Wallpaper. I've read The Lottery. I've read Ray Bradbury, The Veldt, all the things that you read in high school, and a few things that I've read in my first year of university. But I've never been like the most compelled by a short story. I'm hard pressed to find a short story that really like speaks to me in the way that a novel does. But that won't stop me from trying. So I bought this huge collection of William Trevor's short stories. This, I don't plan to finish definitively, but it is full of potential favorites. Maybe I can learn to appreciate a short story. I appreciate a short story, I just don't find myself gravitating toward them. But you never know. And besides, thrift books, it was cheap. I'm always persuaded by a cheap book. So I'm thinking about maybe just like before bed reading some, or before when I wake up in the morning. I've been trying to get into a habit of reading rather than being on my phone. Or on my phone, really, that's it. But yeah, I am excited to get into this eventually. In the theme of Ireland, I have been seeing this book not everywhere, pretty much just in my local bookstore and library, but it is called We Don't Know Ourselves, A Personal History of Modern Ireland by Fintan O'Toole, and I've just really wanted to read this for like a year or so, maybe more. I don't know a lot about Ireland. All I know about Ireland is what I learned from Derry Girls. So, not much, but I would love to learn more. And this is just a personal history, but frankly, I am so intrigued to see like what that means. And like, I've already read a bit of the first chapter, the introduction, and it's very captivating. The writing is very good, and I'm very excited to continue reading this one and learn a bit more about Ireland. I guess continuing with the Ireland theme, I got 100 Poems by Seamus Heaney, and this one, first of all, I love Seamus Heaney. I remember in high school reading Digging for one of my English classes, and I loved that poem. And I still do. It's a fantastic poem. But I've been wanting to read more Seamus Heaney, and so I picked up 100 poems at my local bookstore, and I've not read all 100 yet, but I'm about halfway through, and he's truly one of my favorite poets now. I have loved almost every single poem in this collection, and I mean, it helps. I read it when I was on vacation visiting family in Ireland, not Ireland, in Idaho, and it's beautiful there, and the poems are so beautiful too. It just really captivated me. One of my favorites is Oysters. It ends on a gorgeous line. I ate the day deliberately, that its tang might quicken me all into verb, pure verb. And that's beautiful. I love the way Seamus Heaney writes. It's truly inspiring. It's fantastic. He uses language in ways that I would never even think to use language. And I just love it. This next one, I had about like 25 books that I needed to get rid of a week ago. And I went around my area looking for little free libraries, which, let me tell you, harder than you would think. I struggled, and it was also very hot, and they were just very inconveniently located. But I did it, and I even found a book. I found Mary Oliver's Rules for the Dance, which is just like a guide to writing metrical verse. And I've been thinking about getting back into writing poetry. I haven't recently, but I would love to. And I mean, who better to learn from than Mary Oliver? So yeah, I'm excited for this one. This next one thing about me is I truly love a story about walking. I'm obsessed with stories of people walking hundreds of miles, tens of miles even. It's just something that I personally have wanted to do for a while, and I first of all just love walking. I find it to be very calming, and anyway, I love stories about people walking. But I found this in my local bookstore, Wanderlust, which is a history of walking. I'm seated for this one. It's truly everything I could ever want in a book. I've started reading it. I'm enamored. I feel like this book was made for me, so I'm very excited to get into it more and to just read all about walking. I just finished reading The Salt Path by Raynor Winn, which is a fantastic book about walking. 630 miles in Wales and England, and also a very beautiful writing style, and the way that she talks about homelessness and loss is very poignant and like very clear. It's a fantastic book. I really enjoyed it. Next, I have been wanting to read Moby Dick for a long time now, but I went to the library and saw in the library sale they were selling this book, Ahab's Wife, which is like a spin-off of Moby Dick about Ahab's wife. Have I read Moby Dick? No. Did I buy this book? Yes. I will read Moby Dick eventually, and I'm very excited to read this after the fact. It just seems so interesting, and I also love a book about water and also women, because notably, from what I understand in Moby Dick, there are not any women? Question mark? I'm not sure. I have to verify that one, but I love a book about the sea, so couldn't pass that one up. Next, I've been wanting to read James Baldwin for a very long time, and I've read a bit of Giovanni's Room, just the first few pages, and first of all, excellent. There were some quotes in there that I think about all the time, and I still think about constantly, even, when I'm not thinking about James Baldwin. And did I buy Giovanni's Room? No. Why? Don't ask me. I operate in ways unknown to myself and maybe anyone else. But I did buy Another Country by James Baldwin, which is not like a bummer. I'm very excited to read this one too. I guess I wasn't feeling Giovanni's Room when I was at the bookstore. But yeah, very excited to finally have something by James Baldwin that I can read and get to it eventually, and I'm sure it'll be great. I look forward to this one. Next is one that I picked up at Goodwill. There were a few that I picked up at Goodwill, and I've been wanting to read this one for a long time, but it's A Gentleman in Moscow. I feel like the setting is so interesting. A book that's like fully encased in a hotel. I'm already hooked, frankly. I'm very excited to get to this one. Yeah, I don't have too much to say. I don't know that much about it, but I'm excited to say the least. Another one I got at Goodwill was Dr. Faustus by Thomas Mann. And in one of my English classes last semester, I read Dr. Faustus, the original play, and I really loved it. It was very fun, like magical, and I don't know, it just really pulls you in. So then I saw this, and I've been wanting to read Thomas Mann for a while now. I'd love to read The Magic Mountain, but I saw Dr. Faustus, and immediately I was like, well, have to buy that. And I love the way that he writes. It's just so, I guess it feels old, and I love that. I really do love like an old sounding writing style. I just love a book that is a bit rambling. There's a lot of words, the sentences are long, and you can just tell that it wasn't written in this decade, this century even. So I'm very excited for this one. Ooh, this is another one I got in a thrift store, and I've been wanting to read this for a very long time, and I was very surprised to find it, because I haven't seen it anywhere, which is why I haven't gotten it yet. But it's Nervous Conditions by Tsitsi Dangarembga, and I'm so excited for this. About a girl in the 1960s in, oh god, Rhodesia in Africa, and her brother dies and she gets to go to school in place of him, and I'm very excited to read this. It just sounds fantastic, so I can't wait for this one either. Then another thrift store. One thing about me, I will buy a book in a language I do not speak and do not understand, and I don't know why. Maybe it's optimism. Maybe I think one day I'll be able to read it. Who could say? But I did buy Il Giardino dei Finzi Contini in a thrift store. I can't read it. It is in Italian, but something inside me cannot resist. So I did purchase this, and maybe one day I'll learn Italian, and maybe one day I can read it. I await that day. Speaking of books in languages I do not speak, but I speak this language a little bit more, we have Antigua Vida Mia by Marcela Serrano, and this is another one I picked up in the thrift store. I have been learning Spanish, so this is at least more reasonable than Italian for me. But yeah, it's about two friends in Cuba, I believe. No, Chile. And I just would love to dip my toes in every now and then. Have something that's not a textbook to read in Spanish, so I'm excited about this as well. And another book that I bought for my Spanish learning adventure is Eva Luna by Isabel Allende. I've been wanting to read from her for a very long time, but my library mysteriously just like Thanos snapped all of its Spanish books into the ether, and so I haven't been able to borrow any of those, and I've been wanting to find something by her, but I finally found this in also Goodwill. and I couldn't resist. So this now joins me on my bookshelves. 2 left. I am now just realizing how many books I purchased. It is a lot. But frankly, I'm excited for all of them. I think I've ended every single one by saying that I'm very excited for it. So, second to last, we have A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man and Dubliners by James Joyce. I've been wanting to read something from James Joyce for so long because the hubris within me is like, you could read Ulysses right now and feel no difficulty. You could read Finnegan's Wake tomorrow and it would be the easiest thing you've ever done. And that's not true, right? I do not feel confident when I think about it in my ability to easily read Ulysses or Finnegan's Wake. Anyway, one day, maybe. But I have been wanting to read A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man for a very long time, as well as Dubliners. So, yeah, I found this again at a thrift store. So I'm excited to dip my toes into Joyce. That sounds really weird. Anyway, finally, we have Eating Animals by Jonathan Safran Foer. And I've actually read like 100 pages of this. I borrowed it from another library in my county, and I found this for like 50 cents at a thrift store. So that's why I purchased it. But I've been very intrigued by vegetarianism, having grown up in a household that is very much not vegetarian. Not even close. So this has just been like a very eye-opening read, and also very just like food for thought, you know? So I'm definitely excited to finish reading this and return to it and just continue learning about these things. That's my summer book haul. If you've made it this far, thank you. I appreciate it. Let me know down below what books you've acquired this summer, what you've been reading, what you've read, whatever has been on your mind. And yeah, thank you for sticking around,